Welcome back, everybody. I'm Ed Berliner, the special edition on Newsmax, the 2016 New Hampshire primary. Let's once again bring in our panel because we got a bunch of new things to talk about here. Steve Malzberg, Rick Unger, Peter Morisi, right back at us again. Gentlemen, there's a late word coming in right now that Chris Christie has said that he is going to head for New Jersey, according to Associated Press, I believe, and he is going to take stock. Steve, I would guess at this point, take stock means when you have 8%. Hang on a sec, Steve. Hang on. Let's keep the comedy down here for a minute, shall we? Chris Christie with 8%. Let's just put it seriously here. He did a nice job. He got Marco Rubio on the debate. But, Steve, time for Chris Christie to move on, yes?
You know, Marco Rubio, there it is. There it is. That's all he could say. Maybe he'll go back with a mop and start cleaning up from the snowstorm from 3 weeks ago. I mean, this guy, his whole strategy, looking in the camera, Mr. Tough Guy, it backfired tremendously. And I'm please, you know what? I almost was happier when he was on the road. Don't come home to my state where I live in New Jersey. Stay away. But it's good that he's getting out of the race. He thought he would do good. He spent all his time in New Hampshire, put all his eggs in the New Hampshire basket, and now he's done. And good. I'm glad he's done. And by the way, Marco Rubio reportedly is now taking blaming himself for the poor debate, resulting into the poor finish today, relatively speaking, for him. So that's where we move forward. But Rubio survives, and Christie goes home.
And also Rubio and Ted Cruz, by the way, have said that they are going to head for the Senate because they have a big vote coming up, I believe, tomorrow or early. So they're going to wait to do that before they head off to South Carolina. Rick, hang tight. We're going to go ahead and turn left here in just a moment. But before I do, Peter Morisi, let me come to you and let me get a comment as well as you will on where this field is going from here, because you have Christie at 8%, Fiorina at 4%. Carly Fiorina, by the way, already said earlier tonight that she is going to continue on a presidential bid. Ben Carson with 2%. Isn't it time for all of these three to basically say goodnight?
I believe all the single-digit candidates should leave, and I think Jeb Bush should leave as well. With all the money he has and all the support that he had within the party, the fact that he finished as poorly as he did indicates that the centrist candidates to watch are Rubio, Cruz, if you can call him centrist, the establishment people, and Kasich. And I think tonight we saw the ticket that makes sense, and that is Kasich as vice president. He would provide the government expertise that Trump needs, and frankly, he's a good campaigner. He demonstrated that. You know, there's an old political saw: when you have three people in the field and two start throwing mud at each other, read Rubio and Christie, the third guy wins. That was Kasich.
Peter.
Kasich is
Peter.
Good,
He could
good
be,
at what he does.
Be Hillary's vice president, Peter. He could be Hillary's vice president. He got the New York Times endorsement. He's a liberal. He doesn't care about social issues one bit. You know what's going to happen? You're going to have conservatives, once again, sitting home. You cannot put Kasich out there. It's a disaster for the Republican Party.
All right, let's go ahead and turn to the...
That's classic conservative, moderate Republican thinking. And it's not outside the box, and it's why they haven't taken the popular vote, you know, in each of the last 5 elections. Trump's going to do things very differently.
The reason is because we've had Kasich.
Hold on.
We've had Kasich.
Hang on a sec, Steve. Hang on a sec, Steve. Let him finish. Go ahead, Peter.
People vote for president. Kasich would be useful for him in terms of executing and doing the things the chief operating officer does. Nobody is going to really help Trump become president. The question is, who can help him run the country? And that's who he should pick.
All right. Now, let's go ahead and turn to the left here, if we will, because we haven't talked about this. Rick, I'm going to come to you with this one.
Republican
don't worry, we got a lot of time. Believe me, we got a lot of Republican stuff left to do here. But let's go ahead and talk about this, because what Politico put up tonight, I think, was very interesting, Rick. Clinton allies grapple with crushing loss. Both Hillary and Bill Clinton knew she would lose here, but not by this much. Rick, come on, let's face it right here. Hillary Clinton gave a concession speech tonight. She hit all the big points. Basically, it was another stump speech, but she lost badly here. If you intend to be the president of the United States, you don't come into New Hampshire and lose this badly.
Well, I agree with the first part of you said. She absolutely lost badly. If you actually believe that that is somehow indicative of her ability to become president, I would very much disagree with that. I mean, we've certainly seen this before. Losing New Hampshire, you want to win. You don't want to get beat as bad as she did. But that certainly does not foretell where this race is likely to go. If you have to bet money on this, your odds-on favorite remains Hillary Clinton, like it or don't like it. That's just the reality of it once we get to the winner-take-all states. So I don't think that washes.
Aren't
But
you
yes,
afraid a
they
little bit,
lost
though, Rick, of
way
basically
worse.
underestimating Bernie Sanders? I mean, so many people did. Let's face it, a couple of months ago, I bet you that the four of us, if we would have gathered here and talked about this, we would have said, Bernie who? Are you serious? This guy wants us to
No,
come
that's
over
right.
and
That's right.
cut his grass. Come on.
I agree with you. Same thing with Donald Trump. I think we all underestimated him, and many of us did, and we're turning out to be very wrong. Now, I just don't think that Bernie Sanders succeeds as you get down south, and I think he can possibly succeed as you move to the Midwest and the West, but I still think that socialist label is going to cause him just huge problems as we get to the Midwest and the West.
Hang on. Go ahead, Peter.
Northern New England is a place where what he is selling sells well. I taught at the University of Maine.
Yeah, that's right.
And they really do like that kind of thing. As he moves into the South, the black vote is a terrible hurdle for him. It's going to be very, very difficult. But also, the Midwestern sensibilities, that's why the New York Times, endorsed Kasich. Those kinds of things don't work as well out there. They're more moderate in their views of the kinds of change they want. So it's going to be tough for Bernie to get this nomination. I agree with that. I'm very glad to see him do so well. I just love a guy who wants to break up the banks. But, that alone isn't going to get the job done.
Steve, here's what the Politico article pointed out as well. They're talking about reworking Hillary Clinton's message here. They are now going to put race at the center of it. Here you go. She's going to campaign with, and this is according to Politico, African-American victims of law enforcement deaths like Trayvon Martin's mom, Eric Garner's mom. She'll push for a new focus on systematic racism, criminal justice reform, voting rights, gun violence. It will mitigate concerns about her lack of an inspirational message. Steve, she's looking for an inspirational message. What's it going to be? I mean, she's got to pick something here. It seems like she's just going to scattershoot and find whatever she can that grabs anybody's attention.
Well, at one of the debates or town hall meetings, she talked about cops and she compared them to terrorists. Tonight, in her loss speech, she also talked about African-American youth shouldn't be intimidated and gone after and harassed by cops. So let her run on that. Let her run on Muslims have nothing to do with terror. Let her win the nomination on that. Let her win the nomination on cops are the bad guys and Trayvon Martin was a good guy. Please let her run on that. I beg her.
Now, Rick, the good point in there is taken, because as she continues to talk about all these things that she wants to go after right now, is this going to be enough? I mean, look, there's a lot of things hanging over Hillary Clinton's head right now, and it doesn't seem as if she can hit every issue she wants right here, but you can't get past the fact that people don't trust her and they don't like her.
Well, and I think going back to that list, I kind of agree with Steve, I have to say. There are things in that list that you laid out there that I think are not good strategy. It's not a good idea to run against policemen. That's just not going to work either. Peter talked about Midwestern sensibilities, and that's not going to play there. Look, I don't think Hillary is in any kind of severe danger of losing the African-American vote. To hear these things that she's saying, you would think that she was panicking over it. Bernie might cut into some, but I don't think he's going to be that effective. So I think that if that is her strategy, that's a dangerous strategy.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you both for being here. I tell you what, we got to do this a little bit more often because, quite frankly, we need to get the blood pumping a little bit, as if we really needed it with only two primaries, one caucus and one primary done. We got a long way to go.
It just started.
It is. That's the whole great thing about it here. Steve Malzberg, Rick Unger, Peter Morisi, I thank you both. Great additions. We appreciate you all. We'll talk to you again very soon.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you so much.